Concerned residents called the police when they heard strange noises followed by smoke coming from their migrant neighbor's garage one evening. However, after police arrived and searched the garage, they will likely never recover from seeing what was making the noise once they lifted the lid of the charcoal grill. When the refugee crisis first began, the left shamed apprehensive citizens into supporting the resettlement of migrants by claiming that they were scared widows and orphans. In fact, these were the exact words of pro-open borders Barack Obama, who denounced calls to block asylum seekers following terror attacks that were carried out by refugees. Now that Europe has seen its fair share of attacks, authorities are desperately scrambling to implement numerous counter-terror policies. Unfortunately, while they focus their efforts on jihadists, the women and children are proving they can be just as dangerous as their male counterparts. On the evening of September 24 in Zemst, a town just 30 minutes north of Brussels, residents called Belgian authorities when they saw smoke billowing from their female migrant neighbor's garage and what they believed to be the screams of a young child. While investigating the source of the smoke and noise in the garage, police opened the African woman's charcoal grill to discover the charred body of her 2-year-old daughter, suggesting that the mother may have cooked her toddler alive. HLN reports. Police have arrested a 27-year-old African woman for the grisly murder of her daughter after the child's remains were found almost fully burned. Although forensic investigators have conducted an autopsy to determine if the girl was alive when she was placed on the fiery grill, the mother has already confessed to the murder. The migrant woman allegedly hoped to carry out a murder-suicide, telling police, "We both had to burn alive, only this way we will enter heaven together," the son confirmed. Neighbors told the press that the woman had been depressed for some time due to divorcing her husband. Although she was living with her mother at the time, the migrant woman was reportedly alone with her daughter on the evening of the murder. Expectedly, authorities are refusing to consider whether the woman's religious compulsions played a role in the murder, especially considering that most of the migrants arriving in Europe are Africans from hardline Islamic countries. Psychiatrist Hans Hellebuck has already latched on the usual mentally ill excuse, completely refuting the idea that the woman's mention of heaven suggests a religious motivation at least in part. If the woman made such remarks and truly meant them, it is possible that she is mentally ill. I am not saying it is like that, but it is something which has to be taken into account, Hellebuck said. Although the authorities are remaining tight-lipped on the woman's religious background, as they typically do with Muslim migrants, it's most likely that she felt she had to atone for a great sin. In Islam, divorced women are seen as shameful, which is perhaps an indication of her depression. It's possible that the woman saw suicide as a way to cleanse herself from sin and prevent an eternity in hell, which is the standard for Muslim women. The Islamic prophet Muhammad taught that the majority of hell's inhabitants are women because they dishonor their husbands. Although Muslim men are allowed to marry up to 4 wives, beat said wives, and take unlimited sex slaves with the promise of spending an eternity with wine and virgin girls to use for their own pleasure, Muslim women are thrown into the hellfire for simply not being grateful enough to their sex-crazed husbands. Sahih Bukhari, 228, and Sahih Bukhari, 54-464, narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, "I was shown the hellfire and that the majority of its dwellers were women who were ungrateful." It was asked, "Do they disbelieve in Allah? Or are they ungrateful to Allah?" He replied, "They are ungrateful to their husbands and are ungrateful for the favors and the good, charitable deeds, done to them. If you have always been good, benevolent, to one of them and then she sees something in you, not of her liking, she will say, 'I have never received any good from you.'" Of course, Muhammad's sermon is backed up by the Quran's teachings that women are half the worth of men and must obey their husbands' commands no matter how depraved they may be. Quran, 2-228, and the men are a degree above them. Quran, 2-223, your wives are as a tilth unto you, so approach your tilth when or how ye will. Wives are to be sexually available to their husbands in all ways at all times. They serve their husbands at his command. This verse is believed to refer to anal sex, see Bukhari 60-51, and was revealed when women complained to Muhammad about the practice. The phrase when and how you will means that they lost their case. Quran 4:34, Men are in charge of women, because Allah hath made the one of them to excel the other, and because they spend of their property, for the support of women. So good women are the obedient, guarding in secret that which Allah hath guarded. As for those from whom ye fear rebellion, admonish them and banish them to beds apart, and scourge them. Then if they obey you, seek not a way against them. For 1,400 years, Islam has kept women oppressed through physical, mental, and sexual abuse justified as religious compulsions. The Quran has made women victims and victimizers through fear of punishment by both their husbands and unforgiving God. Unfortunately, this infectious ideology has made its way into the West in an attempt not to integrate but to eradicate our progressive values. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please subscribe to my channel.